You look so done with this nonsense. Like, dude, really? Really? That is the look of just... You're kind of resigned to how much nonsense it is to be in this predicament. It's like... Yeah, you're just done with it. Well done. Chunk. And... Plonk. Enjoy. Yes. Okay, you decided to take the furthest one from the side, but all right, that's fine. That is now producing oxygen and eating CO2. Well done. Should probably have some of those in every room I can. Don't technically want to tame it though. Disable this building. I don't want to tame the pip, because the moment I tame the pip is going to die because it won't have food. I don't want that. I just want you to plant my ferns. Jurassic Park! Thank you very much for the cheer there. Let me have a quick read, Bilal. Thank you very much for highlighting that for me. Oh yeah, the stream glitch. It's nothing I could do at this point. If Twitch drops a bunch of packets every so many hours, there's only so much I can do about it because it's not on my end. There's no, because I've got on my second monitor, on my laptop screen rather, because I'm playing the game on my monitor. I've got the network set up, and when that happens, I just look to see where things are dropping, and the information is leaving my network. It's just, it doesn't get to Twitch. I don't know why, but people have been saying that it's happening to other streamers here and there, so I can only assume that just at the moment there's a lot of people watching Twitch and that their servers have never really been built for this kind of use volume. That's my only guess. I don't know what else I can do about it, really. It's just one of those things at this point. Hopefully, we'll get past it reasonably soon, but we'll see. Now, I'm hopeful that because you planted it over there first, that you can still plant it here. I think you can. I'm not sure. I don't know how often they try, either. Which is the other thing. Like, I could uproot this and just force them. In fact, let me try that. Let me just uproot this. We'll force the pip to plant the seed there, then there, then there. Because that should guarantee that they plant it in the right order. You weren't referring to the stream grab. Ah, right. Sorry, below. Oh, yeah, that's quite a ways back, yeah. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, wow. I had no idea that you worked in IT support for the medical profession. That's actually pretty cool. I'm glad you managed to get it sorted, though. Yeah, that sounds like a time-critical operation. Reminds me of one of the study cases I had to do when I was taking my degree. About... there was a problem... I can't remember what it was exactly, like in what part of the system it was, but one of the earlier designs. This wasn't like a power plant nuclear reactor. It was a scientific reactor, but there was an issue in. It's like a read-write issue, basically. The files were being generated. The information that another part of the system needed to have access to was being generated just a few fractions of a second later than the system tried to read it. So it was defaulting to the wrong information, and it was affecting the operation. I'm not going to bore you in exactly what it was breaking. It wasn't like, oh no, it was going to cause a meltdown, but it was a problem because it was. And in the very worst case scenario, it could have broken the reactor. In the scenario that was realistic, it was causing very erroneous data, which was kind of bad because they were researching some important stuff. But yeah, it wasn't like anything like, oh no, the control rods aren't being deployed, the reactor's going to blow or anything like that. It was just a research reactor. It was not nearly that kind of design. Most research reactors, if something breaks, the reactor stops working, instead of if something breaks, the reactor melts down. Thankfully, because that's a pretty sensible way to build a reactor, honestly. Right, okay. Now, Pip, I need you to start planting things. So where's other Pips? I also need you to start planting things. And be relocated, Pip. And then your friend, too. Where are you? No Pips over there. There should be Pips around here somewhere. You, Whomp. Okay, let's have a look at you. It's active. Actually, that's really active. It's active for 112 cycles out of every 187, and it erupts for 365 seconds out of every 583. It's going to produce a lot of CO2. Aavak, how can I manage the stress to not get at a high level? Okay, there's a few things you can do. First and foremost, I'm going to slow this one down because it's a bit of a in-depth answer. First, and the easiest way, is to make rooms. If you look through here in the rooms overlay, it'll tell you what you need for everything. The easiest room to make is the bedroom, or rather the barracks. Later on, you can make bedrooms, but a barracks, sleeping in a barracks will improve a duplicant's morale. So if they're in there, if they have been in a room and it's their room, they'll get a +1 morale straight away. The way that stress works is if their morale need is higher than the morale they're getting, they generate stress. Also, if they walk through water, then stress will happen. But like things like being soggy, that'll go away pretty quickly naturally. Because if they've got higher morale than they need, they will have a natural stress lowering effect active. But if they've got a lower morale than their morale needs are, they will generate stress over time. And morale is based on skills. Basically, the more skilled a duplicant is, the more nice of a base they expect to be in. If they're completely unskilled, like if you've never given them any skill, their morale requirements are going to be so staggeringly low, you'll have no issue controlling it. Like, you could easily, like if you only gave them exactly the skills they absolutely needed. So for example, grilling is a good example. You only ever need the first skill in grilling because that lets you use the electric grill. That's it. That's the only one you ever need. This one is just if you feel like it, because it makes them slightly faster, that's all. And that's true of most things. Like, if you don't need to be digging an abyssalite, only take the first hard digging until you do need someone to dig abyssalite. Then take the second one. Until you do need diamond or obsidian mining. Then take the third, so on and so forth. Basically, the morale need is the combination of all of their skills. And the morale they've got is based on how many morale-giving things are in their environment when they're using it. So the first one, super easy, a barracks. Second one, super easy, is a latrine. Basically, got a toilet and a wash station. Once you've got actual plumbing, get rid of the toilet and wash station and put in a plumbed toilet and a plumbed wash station. And then you've got a washroom. And this is like a +2. So just latrine and barracks will give every duplicant who's using those things +2. Barracks and washroom, +3. The next easiest one is a great hall. You can make a mess hall super easily. You just basically need a mess table in a room that is at least 12 tiles big and no more than 64 tiles. And no industrial machines, but as long as you've got a mess table in there, it becomes a mess hall, and that gives a straight up +3. If they've eaten that day, they've got that +3. But to have a great hall, you put some recreational device, like a water cooler, if you're okay with water, and like a plant pot and a plant in it, and that makes it a great hall. That's +6. So at this point, you've got a barracks, a washroom, and a great hall. You've got +9 morale, just so easy. It is so easy to have that. The next things like parks and nature reserves, they're a little bit more difficult to make. But if you can set them up, they're a big bonus as well. Decor, so they'll have like throughout their day, they will kind of keep track of how pretty their environment has been. When they're in a bad environment, it's decreasing that total. When they're in a good one, it's increasing it. So having a really nice bedroom is great because they spend a lot of time in the bedroom. Same as in the Great Hall, they take time to eat, so on and so forth. But I mean, this is awful, and it's going to massively pull down their mood. So I'm probably not getting any morale bonus from decor. But, you know, if you've got a nice enough space they spend enough time in, that'll also add a little bit to morale. Now, if you are still, like, you've got a very highly skilled duplicant who just needs more morale than you can reasonably provide, then the best thing to do is to make a massage room. Bonus if you make it a massage clinic. Receiving massages at the massage clinic will significantly improve stress reduction. Basically, these massage tables pull stress down. There are other things like recreation rooms as well, with things like you can build in them that pull down stress. But this is probably one of the easiest and earliest ones you'll have access to, is the massage clinic. And you don't need to make a room for it, but it's useful if you do. But you just have a massage table, and then on that massage table, you click on it, and you can literally assign it to someone, and they'll be like, right, okay, I need to use this, like right now. Or you can set these up. So for example, this table and this table, if a duplicant has got more stress than 50%, they will then be allowed to just decide, I need to go and have a break because I'm getting way too stressed. And then you set it at, this is how low their stress can be before the break ends. Like if I did that, then if a duplicant gets more than 50% stress, they'll probably decide, yeah, I deserve a break. I'm going to go and lie down for a bit and get a nice massage. And then once their stress has dropped below 10, they'll be like, okay, that's it. I've decompressed enough that I can get on with my day. Or you can leave it at 0, you know, it's up to you. Making it a pretty room. These need power. I haven't hooked mine up yet because it's never been an issue. But making it a pretty room multiplies the effect in a sense, because it takes a while to have a massage. So you're doing that in a nice space. That whole time, your decor score is going up. The statue looks so done with everyone. He's like, yep. Just watching duplicants get massages all day. We'll take the ice. Since they're like, I was a king amongst my people. Here I am. A mascot. How humiliating! I've led armies, conquered worlds. Now I'm just a passive observer to people getting a back rub. The worst of days. Ah, they're not planting it down here because these plants exist. Right, okay. Yoink. Let's get rid of those. Wow, Bilal, I overdosed on chocolate-covered espresso beans back in high school. Didn't get to the hospital or such, but vomited and heart was going balls to the wall. Yikes. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good experience. Why are they unplugged? Because I don't need them yet. I mean, they wouldn't draw power unless they were being used, but it's just not a priority for me to set up right now. If I have a look at the current electricity network, how much power have I got? I'd probably hook it up to another transformer, honestly, and then I'd have to make room for it because I'd probably want the wire to go up there or something. It's a pain, but I'll set it up when I need it to be set up. Basically, it's not a priority for me, really not. Leave everything with moderation. Yeah, that's very, that's the, honestly, the best advice is for life, really. It's everything in moderation. I mean, I am definitely addicted to coffee, to the point I get headaches if I don't have a drink for a couple of days. But I will only drink a couple of cups a day, never more. Coffee has a lasting effect for about 6 hours. Drinking more coffee within that time frame does absolutely nothing. It will have an effect, but it's more... how do I explain it? Okay, in layman's terms, every time your brain does something, it produces a chemical. And that chemical... you can think of it as the cost of thoughts. Your brain thinks, it produces a certain chemical. That chemical will eventually be detected by receptors in your brain, and when enough of that chemical is present, your brain is like, yeah, it's time for sleep now. I've done a lot of think work. I need a break. I want some dream relax time now. And that's why you get tired. It's very oversimplified. And it's not the only reason you get tired, obviously. There's physical exhaustion as well. But in terms of mental fatigue, your brain does too much thought things. It needs sleep times. Coffee doesn't give you energy, much to the contrary of so many people's belief of coffee. It does not give you more energy. All that coffee does is it bonds with the receptors in your brain that are looking for the think work chemical. It doesn't trigger those receptors, it just blocks them. So your brain is just like making more and more think work chemical because it's doing lots of thinking. And your brain is just getting more and more and more full of this chemical, but can't tell it's there. So it's like, yeah, no, this is fine. I can just keep working. I can work for days. I've not done any thinking. I don't know how. I've been awake for like 98 hours, but no thinking has been happening. I am super able to keep going. But eventually that chemical breaks down. It has a certain, life time in your system before it just naturally breaks down. Once it breaks down, those receptors are like, holy crap, there's so much think work mechanical here, I'm basically gonna die. And then you shut down. That's why you hard crash after a lot of coffee. The more coffee you got in your system, the longer that effect lasts, because there's always more of that chemical to fill the gap as the stuff that's already bonded. So, you drink more coffee in 6 hours, it'll have an effect. It's just, it tops up the timer on the chemical that's present in your brain that's blocking your brain from realizing how absolutely exhausted it is. And then it eventually wears off. And then your brain is like, ah! Unless you have a lot of it. And then all sorts of things are breaking down. Because your brain isn't getting any less messed up by just not being aware of how tired it is. All of the things that go weird when your brain gets super tired are still going weird. Like your heart rate is not being measured properly. It's generally a bad thing to take the organ which is responsible for mediating the proper function of all of the other organs and overworking it for a long time. That tends to have negative effects. Like, your kidneys stop doing kidney things. Your heart stops doing heart things, or at least does it wrong. It starts beating a weird kind of cha-cha instead of, the boring ba-dum-ch, ba-dum-ch. And eventually, after excessive use, it can full-on break stuff. Like, permanently break stuff. You don't want to see what your brain can do when it controls everything, because there are certain things that aren't just not meant to be done. It's kind of like the processor in a computer. You overwork it long enough, it eventually degrades the component. It's fun about hearing people talking about what you went to unit study. I believe, don't quote me on this because, it's been a while. But I think it's adenosine. It blocks the adenosine receptors. Could be 100% wrong on that. Ainin, you can correct me if I am. The TLDR I heard for caffeine is that it doesn't make you any less tired. It just makes you unable to tell you're tired. Yeah, that is exactly what it's doing. You're not any less tired. You just can't tell how tired you are. But that wasn't quote-worthy. God damn it. That was 100% not worthy of a quote. I think it's a denizen. People are going to be like, what? What the hell? What was going on in your chat when if this is quoted? What's the context? You said don't quote me on this. I love that. I love that. That's so great. Well done. Well done, Belial. I approve. You know what? That was amazing. Thank you very much for the resub, White Hammer. 22 months, mate. Diolch yn fawr. Enan, sorry for the delay. I'm playing Oni too, and my dupe was trying to die. Yeah, they have a habit of doing that, don't they, Belial? Some of them are more successful than others. You can think of it like this, Belial. Your dupe didn't fail at staying alive. They succeeded at killing themselves. Well, at least he was good at something. Yeah, that's a spirit. Well done, Belial. Okay, well, you know, you keep on being you, I guess. Chilling out. I mean, this is a young Draco, is it not? Or, no, actually, that was the old one. When are you going to reproduce? Oh, you're going to reproduce fairly soon. How long is this going to take? Oh, I don't have enough copper. Poop. How long have I been staring at that and not taking any attention of it? Never mind, we've got loads of copper over here. Let's replace this with a bit of a path. Then we're going to core all of this copper. As for the idea of being resistant to caffeine, I don't think anyone is resistant to it. I don't think you can be resistant to a chemical which is blocking your adenosine receptors. But it you know, your mileage may vary. I could be wrong about that. It's certainly possible that you just might not notice being extra tired. You know, if you're knackered by default, then not much is going to change when you suddenly run out of coffee and you're like, oh yeah, I'm exhausted. Oh well, par for the course. Life, I guess. But I really wouldn't know. Again, I didn't study biology. This is just, you know, the sort of stuff you just pick up kind of passively from being in uni. My biology kind of schooling was high school or secondary school, as we would call it. But that was it. Do I have no more oxyfern seeds? This is deeply saddening. I require oxyfern seeds. Like right now. It's no longer storing oxyferns. Dunk. Copy settings. Any oxyferns? No. Poop. Oxyferns down here. They got automatically popped down there. Well, they're not going to do any good here because of the body temperature, so let's move them. AI, Aavak well developed, won't have such weak brain things. Indeed. Indeed. What have we got? Slick. Enter an oil biome for the first time. Really? When did that happen? Have we actually entered an oil biome? Wouldn't say we have. Oh, is it? Oh, this is classed as an oil biome. Okay. Okay, fair enough. You say that, Leafin, but I'm certain it will have brains. Or it might make use of brains. I mean, you know, why waste the resources already there? But it's not going to have a brain itself. That would be silly. That's just a vulnerability. Maybe it'll just connect lots of fleshlings in concert. Not that they'd be aware anymore, though. Yeah, they don't need to be awake for it to be able to make use of their mental processes. Just a large, I don't know, maybe multi-purpose. Maybe not just their brain power. Maybe using other, maybe just an array of people. A battery of people, one might say. Yes, I think this is a grand plan. My best guess would be that the blockage of the adenosine receptors would result in the production of more receptors, or the receptors eliciting a stronger response. Hence the addictive properties and withdrawal symptoms. Yeah, that would make sense, Lady Sheila. Ah, yeah, Ainin chimes in, yeah, exactly that, by the sounds of it. You can become resistant. Your body responds to adenosine being blocked by ramping up your sensitivity to adenosine. So you have more receptors and more of adenosine. Right, that would explain why people... Yeah, because the general thing about coffee is that if you drink a lot of coffee, like you've got two options. Don't consume much or any caffeine if you can avoid it. Or never stop consuming it. That would make sense in the sense of if you consumed enough caffeine that it caused your body to improve its sensitivity to adenosine, then when you are regularly doing work, when your brain is regularly producing adenosine, it's going to produce more of it, or the normal quantities it produces are going to have an amplified effect. So you're going to feel more tired from the same amount of work, meaning you are now reliant on the ability to block those receptors in order to get a normal level of awakeness. I'm assuming that's how it would work. Well, that would make sense, Aidan. I mean, very few things in your body are permanent. I mean, from the simple fact that almost all of your cells get replaced every 6 or so months. So, as long as you dial back on the caffeine usage, you're eventually going to go back to a normal level of sensitivity. And that's true of pretty much everything. That's withdrawal sucks, but once you're out of it, usually there's very little in terms of the chemical biological addiction. It's more habitual addiction that gets you. People who relapse, it's not because their body's like, I just need this thing again that I don't even remember because it's been 8 years. There's literally no more of, well, okay, part of my brain is still there, and the alpha cells in my pancreas. And okay, there's a few cells here that were around 8 years ago, but 98% of me was built anew. In fact, it's been rebuilt 3 times in that period of time. There's so little of me that was still around 8 years ago that I couldn't possibly be causing the addiction. No, what's causing the addiction is just the memory. I remember how it felt. I really liked it. Most addiction is, outside of obvious hard drugs, because they're just flat out chemically addictive. But generally, most addiction is psychological. You become habitually addicted to it. Did you get? Oh no, you became poop. Welp, we got a tame pip. Well, it's not what I wanted. Are there any other pips in the area? Yeah, we got pips. We got 2 pips. How old are you? You are midlife. You will produce a pip egg. You are midlife as well. You will produce a pip egg. So, technically speaking, don't need you guys. It's the only way. Okay, went down the rabbit hole and found that metabolism plays a big part in the effect of caffeine, and some people are more susceptible to caffeine than others based on the rate of metabolism. Yeah, that would make sense. That's probably true of a lot of it, actually. Yeah. Are they trying to clean this up? Oh, that's going to be so annoying. Ugh. That's 1. Please stop doing that. No! Okay, good. This should be sweep only. Yeah, sweep only on this one. And sure, now it can be used. But otherwise, you shouldn't be sweeping any of it. We should not be storing food. Food should not be stored. There we go. Now we can get this place set up.